Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this 9 o'clock update of Winter Storm Cora here this evening on YouTube. Great to have everyone on here. We're going to be kind of diving into some of the latest information that we're seeing, taking a look at what's going on right now across Arkansas over into Mississippi as Winter Storm Cora continues to make its way off to the east and continues to expand as we go through this evening, and keeping an eye on the potential for what could be a pretty significant ice storm as we get into the day tomorrow. So it's just a real big mess out there right now. And this is kind of what we're seeing looking off to our west over in Mississippi right now. We can see here that we've got definitely some snow here, a little bit of freezing rain, and you really kind of depends on what radar site we're looking off of here to kind of be able to see what all is going on. But a lot of moisture here with this that we can see, and some big time snow back across Little Rock up into Conway. There's already been multiple accidents that have been reported out there. Oklahoma, even up here into northeast Oklahoma, Tulsa down to Oklahoma City, really kind of getting in on some of that snow, and then kind of getting down here to now the north side of Texas, north of the DF, Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we're seeing this freezing rain line here pretty much right across the Texarkana area. And it's sometimes hard to be able to see all of this in super great detail, depending on what all we're looking at here on the radar, just because the temperatures are fluctuating as we're getting into the cooling hours here of the evening with temperatures dropping. So definitely going to be keeping an eye on that as we go through the evening. For those of you just joining the live stream, welcome. My name is meteorologist Joseph Pisani here at Extreme Weather Videos. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button there for me as we kind of dive here into what we're looking at for this evening. So be sure to, again, leave us a comment. Let us know in the live chat where you are watching from. We'll probably be here live for the next couple of hours, I'd imagine, kind of breaking this down, taking your questions. This will be a little bit more of an informal live stream than what we did earlier this evening. So we'll definitely be really just kind of perusing the data this evening that's coming in here into EWV HQ. So great to have everyone with us again. Again, if you're new, be sure to hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons. So what I do want to do now that we're kind of getting here into this evening now is kind of start taking a look at some of this new information that's coming out. We're getting some of this new high resolution data coming in. Let's go back an hour. So the 1Z data is coming in. We do have a full 00Z set that just completed here this last hour. So this is really what I'm wanting to look at. I'm going to start actually at a more regional view so we can get a better idea of what all is going on. Let's jump over here to our precipitation type map. So this is kind of what we have going on right now across Arkansas. That's that freezing rain line that I was talking about, sleet mixture there across southern Arkansas over to Texarkana. Starting to see a little bit of snow here, even in portions of northern Mississippi as well. So let's kind of track this forward here and see what we're going to be expecting here as we get into this evening and the overnight hours. Again, here in Georgia, we're not really going to be seeing anything till daybreak, pretty much. is what we're looking at. So this here, that's midnight. That's getting over here next couple of hours. Oh, hold up. Let's go. I'm on the wrong. I want to go on forecast. There we go. Now we got the right chart here. So this is some of the new high-res data coming in. So again, a lot of freezing rain, sleet down here in the southern half of Arkansas, northern half of Arkansas, showing potentially some more snow. And then seeing that changeover zone. And I kind of feel like a little bit of this does have some of that hard time. You can see, though, look how far south this sleet and freezing rain is going here, even into Georgia. I mean, we're talking all the way down into Columbus, Georgia. This is 6 a.m., okay, 6 a.m. Eastern time. So by 6 a.m., we're looking at this really start cranking across Georgia, even over here south of Atlanta, over toward, Griffin, even down toward Macon, between 5 and 6 a.m., as early as 5 and 6 a.m. now, looks like we really could start seeing some activity. All right, let's kind of keep moving forward on this here as we're going forward. So that's, again, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., really getting pounded across northern, so places like Tupelo, even up here toward Coleman, Huntsville, Alabama, getting in on that heavier snow. And then this is 7 a.m., so that's when it's going to be coming right through. Again, we're going to be right on that line here in the Atlanta area at 7 a.m. Really, you can see that major sleet, though, going on. So it does look like less rain, which, again, is something that we're going to really have to watch as this develops, because if we can continue to keep the cold air further to the south, that is going to, again, enhance that snowfall probability. But we are really seeing this trend of a lot more icing taking place when we see this large area of sleet and freezing rain taking shape here across. And let's actually take a look at one of our point soundings here. We're just going to go here kind of in near the area where I live, kind of see what we're looking at. So yeah, it looks like, again, sleet and snow mixture. Ground temperature is right around 32 degrees. And then it kind of warm, stays about that, almost up through the 850 millibar level. And then we see that warming there, and then kind of cools back down. So again, not as sharp of a nose for the freezing rain. So that's why it's kind of more that sleet snow mixture being forecasted here in this. And then again, continuing on with the sleet and snow mixture. This is 8 a.m. and then into 9 a.m. Again, so it's really going to be right in line. You can see here, northern Georgia, all snow, but this wide area of that sleet, some freezing rain mixing in there, but the rain's still well off to the south. You can see this. Here's the low pressure system pretty much right over just west of Mobile, Alabama at this time. And that's what's causing this. If this low kind of tracks a little bit further to the south, and that warm front in a sense can't lift as far north, we don't get that warm air overriding as far north, it could paint a little bit of a different picture for us. This is 10 a.m. So again, heavy snow shower still, a lot of that sleet, snow. This is 11 a.m. Snow moves off to the north. Interesting seeing all this rain kind of coming up here into more northern Alabama. That is something we're going to have to watch. Still hanging on to that sleet snow mixture by noon. And then, again, this actually is bringing that warm air a little bit further north, which could potentially cause some earlier melting in the day, possibly. Not by much, but again, if this were to actually verify here, where we see kind of a little bit, not much, but some rain actually move through here, like this model is showing, that that could honestly help as far as any ice accumulation and stuff like that. Maybe melt a little bit of that off of the power lines and trees before that cold air dives in Saturday night behind it, and we get down to, you know, 18, 19 degrees on Sunday morning. So interesting seeing what the high resolution model here is painting. Definitely painting a little bit of a different picture, showing a ton more sleet, and backing off on the snow a little bit when we're looking at the precipitation type. So again, that's just one model that we have out there, high resolution. I do want to kind of take a look, see what the NAM is showing again. It's not quite as high resolution. Let's make sure this is the latest. Yeah, it's 00Z. So yeah, here's all this red. That's all that freezing rain. But again, bringing that warm air a little bit farther north late in the afternoon. And then, yeah, it's just a mix. I really feel like the models are kind of struggling with the precipitation type with this event, just because the low down here, it honestly isn't super well developed at this time. It's still trying to get its act together. I mean, we're only talking, 1,007 millibars, 1,006 millibars. So it's not a super powerful low pressure system that we have moving through. It gets down to 1,005 there, and then kind of weakens, and then comes here across Carolinas. And again, just a huge icing and sleet event. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, this here is that could be some tremendous icing taking place on across the Metro Atlanta area. Brad, with the warm air coming northern, would that improve expected driving conditions? Yes, possibly, especially if we get some warmer rain to fall. Now, if it's only 33 or 34 degrees, let's actually take a look at those temperatures real quick, because you bring up a good question. If we get some of this rain to fall like we're seeing in that projection, could it improve driving conditions across the Metro Atlanta area and places even further to the west? It could. It's going to depend on how much it has accumulated, because if a good bit has accumulated prior to that rain arriving, it actually could cause, in a sense, and it stays at 32, even 33 degrees. It could cause a little bit of a flash freeze, in all honesty, because if it's not raining till, let's say, those raindrops are falling down into the lowest couple thousand feet of the atmosphere, there is the potential that it could freeze. Now, you can see here we get up to about 33 degrees here in Atlanta, 32 over in Athens, 32 up on the northern suburbs. So there's that little bit of, you can kind of see this warm air, this green shading on the map here. Let me actually make this full screen for you so you can see it a little bit better. Let me zoom in as well. There we go. So hopefully you can see that a little bit better. 33 here in Atlanta, 32, 32. So let's see what happens over these next couple hours. So let's go back to, this is 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. 9 a.m. is where we start seeing the warming, gets up to 32, and then 10 a.m. still at 32. 11 a.m. is when we could break the freezing mark potentially in the Atlanta metro area. And again, you have to be mindful, there could be some microclimates within. So it could be 33 degrees in Atlanta, but 32 degrees still out in the suburbs. with all that with all those concrete buildings, you typically have a little bit warmer, 33. So, and then it drops back down to 32. So it depends on how long, we see if how long it's 33 degrees, you know. And then obviously we see that cool air coming in off the mountains once we hit tomorrow evening. And it quickly will drop after that back into the 20s and teens by early morning. So there is the potential that we could see some afternoon melting. There's also the potential if it gets up, say 34, 35, that really we could see any snow per se melt. But then any standing water obviously is going to freeze Saturday night going into Sunday morning. Which that, again, like I was talking about earlier, that could lead to one of those more type of flash freezing scenarios that we're talking about. So excellent question. Excellent question. Let's kind of come back over here. Let's take a look at some of our traffic cameras out in Little Rock. See if we can get this pulled up here. It's not going to pull that. This doesn't have traffic cameras, but let me show this to you anyways. So this is obviously what's kind of going on out west, off to our west, and we can see, we've got these road incidents and accidents already going on out here in Little Rock. And a lot of this is due to what we were looking at here earlier on the radar with some of this freezing rain that has been taking place. Let's come back to Little Rock. You can see here all this red here on the map. This is a lot of freezing rain that we have going on in Little Rock. And I think that's why National Weather Service is highlighting the potential for possibly a more significant icing event here for us in Atlanta. So excellent question. So, this is, again, what we were looking at earlier, where the potential for that ice and sleet really across that outlined area, again, could overperform, and this could become a higher potential ice event across our area. So, kind of want to take a look. Let's see their ice accumulations map. Again, so here's kind of what we're looking at. Again, widespread amounts now forecast of 1/4 inch and some places higher. So we're looking at about 1/4 of an inch on the western suburbs, about almost 3/10 of an inch here in the eastern suburbs. to include DeKalb, Gwinnett, Walton over toward Loganville, even up towards Gainesville. Possibly highest amounts could be up north, kind of north of Gainesville in the Cleveland, Georgia area, maybe up south of, well, kind of southwest of Cleveland. But this here is definitely something that we are going to really have to keep an eye on. So, and they're saying, if these temperatures trend slightly colder than what we're currently forecasting, we could even have ice accumulations further south, even down toward Macon, And if we don't have as long of if we don't have as long of a snowfall in the morning and we transition to that freezing rain and sleet earlier in the day, say before noon, say by 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. even, that's going to up these freezing rain totals even more. So I do think that we're going to have pretty significant power outage potential here across much of Georgia, especially from Atlanta over Interstate 20 over towards Augusta, and then up 85 through Gainesville and up toward Greenville, South Carolina. It definitely is looking that way as we continue to move into check. As we continue to move through the overnight hours. So I'm going to put this in motion. Give me just a minute. I need to grab something real quick. And we'll be right back here with this continuing coverage of Winter Storm Cora as it makes its way across Arkansas and Mississippi. And we'll be seeing impacts from Winter Storm Cora as early as 7 a.m. here across the Atlanta metro area. Some places could be even earlier, 5 a.m. starting across western Georgia. I'll be right back. Stay with me. Give me just a minute. All right, everyone, welcome back. For those of you that are just joining us on tonight's live stream, we are covering the breaking Winter Storm Cora, that is expected to cause significant problems for here in North Georgia through the day tomorrow, starting as early as 6 or 7 a.m. And the potential for a major winter ice storm developing across the southeast continues to increase with the new model data that has been coming in. My name is meteorologist Joseph Pisani. I'm glad to have all of you here with me this evening. If you're new to the channel, definitely leave a comment in the live chat and let us know where you're watching from. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those in there. I'll definitely be glad to answer those for you. But again, kind of the latest data that we were just looking at before the break um, is that we're seeing more widespread amounts forecasted for North Georgia of 1/4 of an inch or more of ice accumulation to be taking place, especially tomorrow afternoon into early tomorrow evening. We will likely still see, I think, a brief period of snow showers across the metro Atlanta area early in the morning. And then the question is, how quick does that snow change over to freezing rain? And this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what's going on out in the Little Rock, Arkansas area right now. And you can see kind of what we're talking about with that snow changing over to that freezing rain. You can see this big, heavy burst here of snow, and then it kind of changes over into that red shading, which is that freezing rain. So that is definitely something that we are going to be keeping an eye on, especially here across the metro Atlanta area. Many of you may remember back in 2014 when we had what many people would call Snowmageddon here across North Georgia, where we had our flash freeze and the interstates froze up. And that happens even with it doesn't all have to be freezing rain. With the sleet that we're forecast to accumulate, when you have tires rolling over that and compacting that and pressing that, and you have near freezing temperatures or just below freezing temperatures, and that surface is now cooled, that will quickly turn into just a solid sheet of ice, and those freeways become an ice skating rink. Now, I know that Georgia DOT is planning on treating a lot of the interstates and state routes later this evening, probably starting after 10-11 p.m. tonight and going through the early morning hours. Now, they've got 70 miles just of Interstate 285 to cover. And then you're also looking at, Interstate 20, Interstate 75, 400, Georgia 400, Highway 23, State Route 23. So, I mean, they've definitely got well over 500 or 600 miles worth or more of roads to try and treat in the early morning hours before all this precipitation starts falling. So they're planning on brining through probably about daybreak, so probably till about 5:30. And then after that, they'll switch it over likely to more of a salt mixture for the early morning hours. And I'm sure they'll be out there as long as they can. But obviously, here in the South, it's not like up north where we've got, massive amounts of equipment, snow removal and snow treating equipment here across the South. So, but again, this is definitely going to be a big problem for many cities in the South: Atlanta, Birmingham, even up toward Greenville, Charlotte, North Carolina. This ice storm has the potential to not only be affecting us here in Georgia, but to be going well across, well into our neighboring states of South Carolina and North Carolina, and even over toward Alabama. I don't think we'll be as bad over in Alabama. It really does look to be kind of really kicking off here in the Atlanta metro area, and then working its way off to the north and east, pretty much traveling right up the Interstate 85 corridor, if you will. So it's going to depend on how quickly it moves through and what the rainfall rates are like. at that time when the freezing rain is falling. Because if it's more of a lighter rain, you may not get as much accumulation. But if we get some of this quicker accumulation and heavier amounts coming in, then that's where we can really begin running into seeing those higher totals. And let me show you here kind of exactly what I'm talking about. This is what we're looking at. So you can see here, these are the freezing rain precipitation forecast, right? So we can see we've got some down here in Arkansas. That's going on right now. And let's back it up a little bit in time here. So this is by noon. Oh, let me go forward one. This is what we're expecting pretty much by noon tomorrow. So that's really what's going to start kicking off around the Atlanta area. And again, this is just one computer model, but I just kind of trying to show you that pretty much from Atlanta, pretty much up the 85 corridor, up to Charlotte, and then even over toward Raleigh and points east of there, we could have a pretty significant ice storm on our hands here. Starting overnight tonight, we'll see a little bit in Alabama, again, in Mississippi, but really by tomorrow around that noon hour, I think is when we're going to really see the freezing rain and an ice storm really kind of kicking up into high gear. So again, we're looking at 3/10 of an inch across much to quarter of an inch up to 3/10 of an inch. Some places could be locally higher, even here in Gwinnett County, maybe some places up closer to 0.35, but then even up here towards Greenville, still solid quarter of an inch. So all of these areas between quarter of an inch up to maybe 4/10 of an inch is what we're looking at for tomorrow. So, and then looking at our snowfall total for the same period, I really think Tennessee is going to see a nice snow out of this. Down here in the Memphis area again, and you know, we still could see some decent snow. This is the European model that we're looking at right now. So even the latest Euro is still showing about 4 inches for Georgia here on the 18Z Euro. So, and let's take a look at, let's go to, let's pick an hour, maybe probably 33. We can go about 33. And I want to we're going to do our comparing our models, right? So this is going to allow us to compare all the different models for our snowfall. So the European model, this is the European. This is the GFS. European, GFS. So the GFS, we can see, gives us lower snowfall totals across Georgia. It has the snow line a lot further north than the European does. However, the GFS does give much higher totals overall for where that snow does fall. I mean, we're talking 10, 11 inches here across parts of northern Mississippi, even far northern Alabama, up near like Huntsville and Newmarket, even up toward Rome, Georgia, 6 or 7 inches. So that's kind of interesting. And then our high resolution rapid refresh model. Again, if you notice, these heavier snowfall totals kind of stop just north of the Birmingham area, up here near Coleman, Alabama. And the high resolution really drastically reduces our snowfall totals here in Georgia, maybe 2.5 to 3 inches, which really I think is actually probably getting good. Obviously, up here in the mountains, we're still looking at potentially half a foot, maybe a little bit more, 6 to 8 inches, possibly up here in the mountains of northeast Georgia. But across Atlanta, we're looking really more 2 to 3 inches because of that higher threat for our ice, right? So that's the high resolution refresh. Our HWR model, not really great with the snow. So it does, again, barely have really any snow fallen for the metro Atlanta area. Everything's all north, well north. But again, still 7 or 8 inches here across much of southern Tennessee, south central Tennessee as well. And I'm just going through all of these models here, okay? This is the FV3 model there, another one, right? So we can see this one's interesting because look how far south some of these snow totals get. I mean, we're talking all the way down into Macon, right? Seeing some of these snow totals, but still fairly small even here across much of Georgia on the FV3 model. NSSL model, keeping all the snow pretty much well off north, not even showing anything for the I-20 corridor at all, which I don't think that's going to be the case. Again, not the greatest snow model. And here's another NSSL model. So this is the NAM. Again, I really don't like the NAM for winter weather, especially when it comes to snowfall forecasting. To me, it just doesn't do as good. The RAP model is kind of interesting. The RAP and this is the rapid refresh model, similar to the HRRR, but again, to me, overdoing these snowfall totals a little bit. I mean, 8 inches here, that would be, we'd have to have a huge wave of snow moving through early in the morning, dumping 2 to 3 inches an hour to be able to really see anything like that. So as far as snowfall totals go, I think that's definitely overdone there. The RDPS model here, again, showing about an inch, probably a little bit lower. But really, when we're looking at all of these models, when I'm kind of scanning through, I'm really just looking more for trends, not necessarily amounts, but where's one model picking up snow and another aren't? Are there areas where we're seeing consistent heavier snowfall, like up here in the northern half of Arkansas into western and central Tennessee? All of these models kind of have that heavier snowfall area going across those areas and keeping a lot of the heavier snow away from the I-20 corridor and even here across 82. So definitely going to be interesting when you're looking at these different models and stuff like that. So again, don't get too hung up on the models, guys. Really, at this point, it's going to come down to temperature profiles in a locale, which, these computer models, they have a hard time doing that. Really, any significant length of distance. And that's the thing about winter weather. It can change so quickly. And obviously, I think seeing some of the wording from the National Weather Service, wording like overperform when it comes to these snow and ice totals, that definitely has me concerned. We haven't had there hasn't been a significant, I would say, true ice storm. Obviously, what happened in 2014 with the interstates was significant, but it wasn't even where we were having, these quarter of an inch, half inch ice totals causing widespread tree and power line damage across the area. Whereas this particular setup, if we do have these higher snow and ice totals, this could be a much more significant and impactful storm for the Southeast and up into the Carolinas and really Dixie Alley, across Dixie Alley here. So we're going to have to kind of keep an eye on this, see how everything kind of transpires through the overnight hours, and really kind of keep an eye on this here to see if we see more of this freezing rain here develop through the overnight hours. And let's kind of dive in here real quick into our radar a little bit. Let's see here. I want to try and get some of our storm reports here pulled in. Obviously, right now, not seeing a whole lot, but this is interesting. So these are our storm reports here that we've got across the Little Rock area. So we're seeing obviously snow, ice, grapple. And seeing some of these different reports. Mixed rain and ice pellets down here. Freezing rain. This was just a few minutes ago out here. Power outages out here. And that's going to be the other thing too that we have to keep in mind is the power outage potential that if we have a more significant freezing rain event, we could really be talking about some widespread power outages across Southeast. Now, the good news is with all of this is we are expecting everything to pretty much be gone and melted by Sunday afternoon. Sunday, we're going to be seeing temperatures getting into the mid 40s by Sunday afternoon. So if power does go out on tomorrow evening or into Saturday morning, I am hoping that the crews will be able to get out pretty quickly to start power restoration across the area. So, but if this is a more widespread and we have tons of trees down, I mean, folks could easily be without power for at least a few days. I know I was talking to some folks that were living here back in 1999 when there was a big ice storm and power was out for 3-4 days for most of the Atlanta area. So this has the potential that we could see something like that. So hey Corin, welcome to the live stream. Great to have you on here, my friend. Glad to see that you were able to join us. So let's see here if we've got, take a look here. We do have some power outages now across Texas that we're seeing. So not a ton, but seeing some here. We've got about 14,000. Most of them are actually up here in this county. So seeing some there in Texas. Well, we'll keep an eye. Obviously, California with the wildfires out there, they have had really major power outages throughout the day. So, but I mean, over 700,000 people out. But we'll definitely have to keep an eye on this, especially as we get into the day tomorrow with the potential for power outages to be a major concern across much of Georgia. So it's kind of where things are at this evening. Here's an area where we're seeing some of this heavier burst of snow. I've got this blue. Let's come back over. See what's going on here in Oklahoma. Oh, yeah, a lot more snow here in Oklahoma. So that's where we're seeing the snow right now. It's here across eastern Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, even getting up here into Springfield, seeing a good bit of snow coming down. Let's take a look at Tulsa. Oh, yeah. Heavy band of snow just south of Tulsa right now. So really starting to see some big snowfall totals over there. Even on the east side of Oklahoma City, that snow's coming down. You can see really kind of tapers off here on the western side of Oklahoma City. But again, big band of snow here really stretching from east down here near Ardmore, Oklahoma, up toward Tulsa, and then off to the east. So that's kind of our heavy snow band right there. Again, Dallas not getting as much snow right now. A lot of that's moved off to the north of Dallas, and we're seeing a lot more of that freezing rain kind of here over Fort Worth and the northern suburbs of Dallas. Maybe a little bit of changeover even to some rain there in Dallas. But this is what we're talking about, guys. This storm is just going to really just be an absolute mess and just cause havoc for really from Texas all the way to the Carolinas. It's going to be an absolute disaster. So hopefully we'll be able to keep doing these live streams. We'll be live as much throughout the day tomorrow as I can. I will try and set up a fairly continuous live stream if I can, going over the Atlanta area. Kind of keep you guys updated, especially as we get into the afternoon with the ice storm and things like that. I may not venture out if the roads are too slick, just because I do not want to get trapped out there for a day and a half or whatever in 19-degree weather overnight. That does not sound very, very fun. So we'll kind of play it by ear on how far out we go tomorrow. But we might, try and do some in the morning before things get too bad, and then come back here. I'll have a camera set up going outside so you guys can actually see what is going on here at my location. I've got a huge pine forest basically that's behind where I live. So that is going to be very interesting, seeing what all happens with the trees that I have around. We're in a very wooded area here east of Atlanta, even over toward Stone Mountain. So I think that there could be some pretty significant tree damage, especially if we get, say, 3/10, 4/10, half of an inch, especially if we get half of an inch. If we get a half of an inch, that's where we're really going to start seeing the tree damage occur and be widespread over a large area in Georgia tomorrow. So hopefully we won't get that much. Hopefully we'll stay closer to the 10th, up to a quarter. I don't think that will cause too many issues. Obviously the roads will be a disaster, but those will melt by Sunday. It'll just be a day and a half where you can't be out on the roads. Just kind of stay home, watch movies, drink coffee, whatever you do. Take it easy. And then by Sunday, late morning into early afternoon, things should really start melting. And by Sunday afternoon, once we're into the mid-40s, everything should be back normal. And at that point, Sunday, we'll probably go out and do a lot of damage survey on Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. So we'll keep you posted on that. But yes, definitely stay with us here on Extreme Weather Videos. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I do want to give a huge thank you to everyone. We just hit the 500 subscriber mark today, so that is huge. Thank you to all of our subscribers, all of our followers on Facebook. Really appreciate you guys making these live reports possible here at Extreme Weather Videos. I'm going to wrap up this stream for the evening, and we'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. My goal is to hopefully be up and running by 7 a.m., 7 a.m., sometime in there. Get the live stream up and going, and then we'll kind of come to you throughout the day. Here, also over on our Facebook page, be sure to check us out, facebook.com/extreme weather videos. Follow us on there because I will do Facebook Lives on there throughout the day as well. And we'll have this YouTube live stream probably running 24/7 with the live feed of what's going on here in the Stone Mountain area, so you guys can kind of track the snow and the ice and stuff like that, be able to see all those things. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in the morning. Have a great evening, and stay safe out there. Be prepared. Make sure you've got your power outage plan in place for what to do if you lose power, because it could potentially be out for a couple days if we have a major widespread ice storm across Georgia into the Carolinas. So we'll catch you guys in the morning. Thanks again for watching.